coming up. It's unforgettable food, family togetherness, and a positive, colorful approach to life that's hard to resist. The Bangladeshi Americans share in their culture and experience, this time on World in America.
I would like to tell everybody that we are a very friendly, very generous, and a fun-loving community. Don't let linguistic, ethnic, religious, race barriers hold us from knowing each other.
Of course, no set of words can do justice to the Bangladeshi Americans, or any community for that matter. To get better acquainted, it may help to cover a little background. We begin in Bangladesh, a country to the northwest of Burma. The people of Bangladesh speak Bengali. It's a language they share with the state of West Bengal, just across the border in India. Set where the great rivers of South Asia meet, Bangladesh spans the largest delta in the world. In this rich but changeable land, the population has long kept a close, delicate relationship with nature. Today, many of the 150 million people who live in Bangladesh seek out a 21st century lifestyle. But beyond centers like the capital, Dhaka, 2/3 still work as artisans and farmers. Most Bangladeshis are Muslim. Their culture honors the contributions of Hindus, Buddhists, and Christians. See their take on diversity U.S. style when World in America returns.
We have become American now. If you look at the definition of the American, what Americans are, I mean, all the Americans are at one point or other. The current Americans, that's how we define, are the immigrants.
Bangladeshis have for the most part, huge hearts. And I see people who may not be very rich, they may not have a lot, but the door is wide open for a stranger or anybody.
This is the great land of opportunity. I might have the greatest talent, but if it is not cultured, and if it is not given the opportunity to flourish, it will die.
It's a diverse group, but what unifies them is their hard work.
From New York to LA, Dallas to Miami, at least 100,000 people of Bangladeshi descent now call America home. Some, like Fazlur Khan, the engineer who built the Sears Tower, have already made their mark. Others do their best to lift themselves and their families up the social ladder. Big or small, their struggles and accomplishments paint an important history.
The first Bengali on record in America was late 19th century, I forget his name. But as far as Bangladeshis go, because Bangladesh was technically formed only in 1971, most of the Bangladeshis came after independence of Bangladesh from Pakistan. In terms of number, I mean, the official data and unofficial data do vary a lot. I saw one U.S. data set where they estimated almost 150,000 Bangladeshis living in the United States. There was a strong influx of Bangladeshis coming in the late 60s, early 60s, and some of them just got alienated from the political economic structure they lived in, the United Pakistan. Some escaped economic hardships, some political persecution. Bulk of the Bangladeshi Americans did come after independence. there are various reasons. Some come here to pursue higher education and they become part of the brain drain process. I suppose I myself am a part of that process. Some come to like I said, escape economic hardship.
It's not only the economical opportunity, also the freedom, the religious freedom, the freedom of expressing ourselves, the freedom of, from every perspective that you can think of.
In Bangladesh, the educational and the political situation is very shaken. Even though someone is brilliant there or someone wants to study medical schooling, instead of 5-6 years, it may take 7-8 years.
It was that opportunity to do the work that I wanted to do. By profession, I'm an engineer, and the field that I choose to work on or studied, that there was a little, or most probably nothing, no opportunity was available in Bangladesh at that time.
The appreciation that many Bangladeshi Americans have for this country is not uncommon, especially among successful immigrants. But even those born here remind us that making your own way is seldom easy.
Growing up, culturally speaking, I wouldn't say it was too much of a challenge, except that I was the only maybe brown-skinned person in my whole school.
In Bangladesh, you hear this azan, Allahu Akbar, 5 times a day, and there are so many mosques. You're bombarded when you're living there to hear this. But here, none of that, so I miss that a lot.
I can recall when I first entered kindergarten was when they said, "Where are you from?" or who, and I'd say, I'm American. Say, no, you're not.
Like many other cultural groups and ethnic groups that come here, very often it's a values-based challenge. Very often they come from different cultures, they value different things, and they're dealing with a very modern, dynamic society with different religious traditions, with the cultural traditions, and they probably think a lot about how to best raise their children.
When I said I'm from Bangladesh, or my family's from Bangladesh, they said, "What? Where is that?"
Being from Bangladesh, I knew that I had to prove myself to do better in this educational system, to compete with other Americans.
My father would always say, "You are all ambassadors of Bangladesh and of Bengali culture overseas," and a part of me is still doing that.
Usually I would have to say it's a country next to India. So India is kind of like the reference point. So even if it's somebody who's an adult or a child, I would always have to explain that Bangladesh is a separate country. It's not India.
It's the freedom and it's the opportunity. For myself, I can say that it was more than the economic freedom that I choose to stay here.
I didn't have anybody to look up to and say, "Oh, okay, they're Muslim and they're growing up in this country. Let me follow what they're doing." I had to kind of forge on my own, make my own identity. And thank goodness I had parents who are very supportive.
To say that Bengalis have an eye for beauty would be an understatement. In the past, emperors and kings gladly supported the arts. Fine Bangla cloth like muslin once drew global fame. Today, literature often takes center stage with poets like Qazi Nazrul Islam and the Nobel laureate Tagore leading the way. According to Bangladeshi Americans, however, there's a lot more to their culture than what you'll find in books.
To me, it's culture. It's not this music, dance, or the theaters or the literature and stuff. It's a blended, the whole thing, that when it's my life. That's the culture, how I live, what I'm doing or since I wake up and till I go to bed.
I guess when you grow up outside of your country, you're always remembering who you are. And I grew up in a family where culture and tradition is valued.
Most families do send both their boys and girls, mainly the girls, young girls, to dance class. And they learn traditional Bengali dances, the folk dances. And if somebody has a good voice, they also do sing.
there are cultural centers and schools where they go once a week to learn their language, to learn songs, to learn dances.
Folk dance is very important to Bangladeshi Americans even. It's vital to the culture.
Some cultural programs carry a wider function. Take, for example, this event in eastern Pennsylvania. When Cyclone Sidr made a landfall in late 2007, Bangladeshi Americans in the Lehigh Valley sprang into action. Their efforts included a benefit concert to aid the scores in Bangladesh afflicted by the disaster.
Significance here is not only raising the charity, the fund for the victims of the cyclone, but at the same time, the small community that we have founded here and has loved to have fallen in love with the area. We're establishing ourselves within the community, our identity. We're getting ourselves and letting people know who we are.
The evening featured renowned ghazal singer Mohammed Iqbal Qasim. A star in his native Pakistan, he gave a performance that spoke to people from many backgrounds.
Basically, many of the songs he sang are the popular folk songs of the different ethnic communities of the Indian subcontinent. That's he sang Bengali song, he sang Pashto song, he sang Sindhi songs, he sang Punjabi songs, and of course Urdu songs. So that really makes up the most of the Indian subcontinent. So, and they were popular in those communities and those ethnic background to begin with, so the people were familiar with the songs.
And ghazal is that kind of a root that has spiritual ties, and some of us don't even, like today, I don't understand the language, that primary language through which it was being sung, Urdu, but it moves me, and I think I pick up words here and there, and I know that it ties generations across time and space. For every Bengali, the language matters a lot. The Bangla language has a history, and it shapes our thoughts, our dreams, and it's expressed through our music as well and dance. It's a very rich heritage, but most of all, it's the people that make up Bangladeshi culture.
They say you can find a people's heart in their cooking. Well, those who try Bangladeshi cuisine often discover a world of flavor. It excels at fresh fish and seafood, but what really stands out is the feeling behind what comes to the table.
The funniest thing is that every time you go to a Bangladeshi house, you eat so much because they've prepared all these dishes. And then they say, oh, we caused so much trouble for you. and said, how is it trouble for me? You cooked all the food. But it's just a way of saying that we're honored by our presence. And
If somebody comes to somebody's house, as I was saying before, Bengalis are so big-hearted. They have to have a fish, a rice, a chicken, a meat, vegetable, lentils, which is dal, we call it dal.
Most important thing that comes, food and cuisine has to do a lot in Bangladesh. Even though Bangladesh is a poor country,
how we present our food, how we take care of our guests, it tells about our national character.
food has a lot to do within our culture. We spend a lot of time preparing the food.
The mother, the wife in the household, she's the one who takes the dishes the last. And I'm sure you see that in many other cultures. You start with the kids, the husband, and you often find that she gets the worst pieces. She saves it for herself as if it's a privilege to have the worst piece. Then the dynamics start. No, mother, you have to have this and that. And then I've eaten before. And so it's one that every time reaffirms that value of caring and sharing and the role of the mother in the household.
Whether your guest is like the prime minister of that country or just a poor relative from back in the village, they're going to be honored with these dishes. But I like something called rasgulla, which is these small milk balls. It's it's made from the curd of milk. It's like a cheese, a ricotta cheese type of dipped in sugar syrup. That I really like.
I still remember when my grandmother was alive, she would get terribly upset if we would talk while no, it's a disrespect to food, and you should just pay attention to the food. But since then, grandmothers sadly go away, and I think the table manner in a lot of houses, it's associated with adda, and adda is the Bengali word for gossip.
The Bangladeshis, traditionally we use our hands to eat food.
What I didn't know is in Bangladeshi culture, you always serve with your right hand. Okay, when you serve food or anything, and it's part of the Muslim culture, it's part of it. Again, it's ingrained in Bangladeshi culture. And so I'm serving, when I'm little, I'm serving somebody water with my left hand, and they yelled at me. They said, didn't your parents teach you to serve it with your right hand?
And serving them way beyond what they need. People have stopped serving me because I eat too much, but...
This is like very traditional Bengali chicken curry. It's like the everyday type of cooking. During Ramadan, we break the fast with halim, with dates and something to drink, and then halim is like a very nutritious protein source. There's salad and rice. You have to have rice at any Bengali meal.
Nothing beats a meal cooked with care, but sometimes Mom and Dad need a break. When World in America comes right back, sit down at a New York spot that sizzles with Bengali authenticity.
My name is Vishal Abir. I am the owner of this restaurant, and my restaurant name is Chinook. Chinook means like shell. Bengali people, they are associated with shells, fishing, seafoods, and lobsters like that. That's the reason we put name. When food is coming on our mind, first is coming like rice and fish. Like in Bengali, we call it mache bhate Bangali. This is BQ leg. We make it our store and we laminate this for 2 days. Then we cook it over here. It's very tasty. Then we have another oven over here, tandoori oven. Right now it's making tandoori chickens and chicken tikka.
Often regal, at times simple, the result is always mouth-watering.
Now we have here Hilsa fish egg. The Hilsa fish is the national fish of my country, and this is the only fish that you cannot find any other place. And we are using in our food a lot of spice. Then we can go for this one. Here is like tilapia. Our restaurant is like a community restaurant. Most of my customers is Bengali, so they are very pleased to get like Bengali food plus the American combination of Bengali and American food. Bengali foods, they are fresh, tasty, and when you try it, you're going to be addicted.
Great food, music, and art, to some extent, travel easily. But what about deeper values and traditions?
I obey my parents, my kids obey me, and my parents obey our grandparents. So that's the structure, and still I think it is that way. If we all meet together, we value that.
Language is extremely important to Bangladesh. And my parents made sure that that was, instilled in us.
But we always complain, the parents always complain that the kids are talking to us in Bengali, but when they're playing with each other, they so easily convert into English. And we want sometimes for them to also, hey, do that in Bengali, but I guess it doesn't feel natural to them.
We even have in the language a separate word for you, as in you and me as in friends, and that's tumi, which is, but then to address somebody who should be respected, like an older person, it's apani. So it's even in the language we say you to everybody. So to kind of think of that okay, this person I have to say apni to, and this person I have to say tumi to, was something I had to learn.
There is obviously a structure. There was a joint family that the grandparents and parents and the kids, and also brothers and sisters of the grandparents, and all those, they used to live all together.
If you see a grandfather or grandmother, you pay respect by touching his feet, bowing down and touching his feet. But that's becoming more and more rare in many cultures, because a lot of Islamic heritage kind of says you bow down your head to God only, not to another person.
When an elderly person talks, when my father tells me something, even if I do not think that he's right, or the opinion can be different, I just don't say anything in front of his face.
When our kids are sitting down, elders come, they're probably supposed to say Salaam Alaikum, or give up their seat and things like that, and little courtesies in life, and be nice. And of course, it also means the elders have to be nice and respectful of the, I think that's what even the religion preaches. You have to respect all human beings, right? So it's a reciprocal kind of thing. But you see that children are taught these values. You have to respect the elders. You never talk back. Of course, in a society like here, kids are empowered and you want to listen to them too. So it's, again, each family negotiates these relationships differently.
Working people or students, first generation or newly arrived, Bangladeshi Americans are anything but monolithic. Religion, though, gives many a chance to come together.
The religion actually brings not only Bangladeshis, but also all the Muslim countries together in the mosque. Mosque gets filled up with thousands of Muslims, and we have to do in separate 2-3 sessions.
I would say the holidays really help Bangladeshi Americans and Muslims kind of get together. And the two Eids, one is at the end of Ramadan, the holy month of fasting, and the other is to celebrate the sacrifice of Abraham. Both of those, again, even the Bangladeshi Americans who never go to the mosque or don't even send their kids to Arabic school, they will at least attend that prayer and celebrate those holidays.
You know, there's the two Eids, you know, so Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr, these are huge in Bangladeshi culture. That's the religious contribution to our culture. And it's a very festive thing, and you might know one is at the end of Ramadan, but the other one, both are equally festive. And it means guests will come and you will go all over the place, and in every house, so many dishes.
Resourceful, generous, artistic, positive. Family-centered, easygoing, and grounded in their faith are all adjectives you might use to describe the Bangladeshi Americans at their best. But as far as the community sees it, their journey in America has just begun.
A diverse, pluralistic, multicultural society can thrive and coexist in America. That's been part of the American myth, right? And if we can live by it, I think the Bangladeshis will not disappoint America.
I see a huge change in that instead of just being self-centered and just trying to make it in America, people are actually now giving back